Chloe and I had been together for 2 years as of today. 2 years. That kind of milestone deserved something special, something just for us, I thought. I had bought a new navy blue suit, wore a fresh shave, and drove down to Morello's, an upscale Italian restaurant downtown that Chloe had been wanting to try. I walked in feeling good, expecting to see a small table set for two. Instead, I saw an entire crowd. The hostess led me to a large round table in the back. Chloe was already seated, looking perfect, but so were 6 of her friends, mostly guys from her networking group. They were halfway through their first bottle of Pinot Noir. I was immediately deflated. This wasn't the romantic evening I had planned, but I brushed it off. I am not the type to make a scene. I told myself maybe she wanted to celebrate with friends too, and that was fine. I just wanted a nice evening out. I sat down next to Chloe, ordered the halibut, and tried to engage with her friend, Nathan, who I had met maybe once before at a rushed dinner. 20 minutes into the dinner, right after the appetizers arrived, I felt Chloe's eyes on me. I smiled, thinking she was going to lean over for a private moment. Instead, she spoke clearly, across the entire table, making sure everyone heard. "When are you finally going to lose weight?" I legitimately laughed out loud. I thought she was making some weird, dark joke that I wasn't getting. Her friends quieted down, but I was still smiling like an idiot, waiting for the punchline that would clear up the confusion. She wasn't joking. She leaned back in her chair, signaling her friends to watch. "I'm serious, Max. You've gained 20 pounds since we started dating. It's embarrassing to take you places." The silence that followed was heavy, thick, and suffocating. I could feel every person at that table, her friends, the waiter passing by, maybe even the people at the next table, staring directly at me. My smile vanished. I tried to keep my voice steady, aiming for a whisper that she would hear. "Can we please talk about this later?" I meant not in front of your entire friend group, but Chloe shook her head. "No. Let's talk now." Then, this woman, my girlfriend of 2 years, looked me dead in the eyes and twisted the knife. "My ex, Ariana, was way hotter than you. I'm starting to think I downgraded." I froze. My face felt hot, burning, and I knew I was turning a dark shade of red. It felt like an hour had passed, though it was probably only 10 seconds. I tried desperately to find an exit. Tears were starting to prick at my eyes, and I was using every ounce of my self-control not to cry in front of her friends. I finally managed to choke out, "Why are you doing this?" Chloe picked up her wine glass. I thought, absurdly, maybe she was going to toast me, to break the tension with a sarcastic gesture. Instead, she reached across the linen tablecloth, held the glass high over my head, and poured the entire contents of the deep red wine over me. It soaked into my hair, ran down my face, completely ruining my new suit and the white dress shirt beneath. I just sat there in stunned shock, the wine dripping off my chin and onto my lap. She set the empty glass down with a delicate clink. The ice in the glass rattled, a tiny, loud sound in the sudden silence. Then, loud enough for the entire section of the restaurant to hear, she said, "You deserve worse." A couple of her friends, I specifically heard Nathan and a guy named Philip, burst out laughing. Not all of them, but enough. I stood up slowly, deliberately, grabbed my wallet and phone from the table and walked out of Morello's. I didn't say another word. I didn't cause a scene. I just left, got into my car, and drove away. The smell of cheap red wine mixed with expensive cologne making me sick. I drove straight to my best friend, Jenna's apartment. I was still wearing the ruined suit, still dripping wine when I knocked on her door. I drove straight to Jenna's apartment, the wine-soaked navy blue suit a constant, stinging reminder of the humiliation. Jenna's face went from surprise to immediate fury the moment she opened the door and saw me dripping red wine onto her entryway rug. She didn't ask a single question. She just grabbed a towel and a change of clothes and told me to sit down. I told her the entire story right there on her couch, still feeling the burn on my face from the public shaming. "She's a monster," Jenna declared, pacing her living room. "That's not even a drunken mistake, Max. That's calculated public cruelty." I nodded. "I know. But here's what I need everyone to understand. I'm not some doormat who's going to cry about this and then take her back when she sends some pathetic apology text. I'm not that person." I reminded Jenna and myself who I was. I'm the guy who paid his own way through vet tech school while working 2 jobs. I'm the one who moved to Milwaukee from my hometown in Illinois with only $800 in my bank account and built a whole life here by myself. I do not take disrespect. I sure as hell don't let women treat me like garbage. My resilience is one of the few things I have left that I can trust. But I also need to be smart about this. I continued, running a hand through my still damp hair, because here is what I haven't mentioned yet. I looked at Jenna, and my voice dropped to a pragmatic, troubled level. We signed a lease together 4 months ago on a 2-bedroom apartment in Bayview. Both our names are on it. All of my stuff is there. My clothes, my work laptop, my textbooks from continuing education courses, photos of my dad who passed away 3 years ago. Literally everything I own is in that apartment. The lease was bad enough, but the next part was worse, and it triggered the deep-seated trust issues that had always plagued me. About 6 weeks ago, Chloe convinced me to add her to my savings account as a joint holder. I confessed. She said, it was because we were building a life together, and couples should have shared finances. She made this whole speech about trust and partnership, and how her parents had always shared everything. I actually thought it was romantic. Jenna stared at me horrified. Max, you didn't. I did. I went to the bank during my lunch break and added her. There is about $8,000 in that account. It is everything I have saved from working overtime shifts at the clinic, plus money my dad left me that I've been carefully putting away for emergencies. The magnitude of the problem settled over us, heavier than the shame from the wine incident. I had not only been publicly humiliated, but had given the person who hurt me the legal key to my entire financial security. My initial plan to just storm back and throw her clothes out was now impossible. I couldn't risk giving her any warning that I was about to burn her entire life down, because she had access to money that took me years to save. I couldn't simply leave her in possession of the apartment either. I can't just react emotionally. I told Jenna, trying to keep my voice steady. Even though every cell in my body wants to march back to that restaurant and dump an entire bottle of wine on her head in front of whoever is still there. First thing tomorrow, I'm going to the bank the second it opens and removing Chloe from my savings account. I don't care what excuse I have to make to the teller. Then, while she is at work, you and I are going to the apartment, and I am packing every single thing that belongs to me. Jenna agreed immediately, her anger shifting from general outrage to fierce loyalty. We are going to destroy her, but we are doing it smart. Get some sleep, Max. We have a long day tomorrow. But I knew I wouldn't sleep. The wine was gone, but the shame, the realization of the betrayal, and the cold, terrifying thought of that joint bank account were keeping me wide awake. I was not stupid, but I had been an idiot. Tomorrow the practical fight for my life and my money would begin. The next morning, I felt a desperate urgency, but nothing prepared me for what the banker's screen would reveal. I barely slept at Jenna's. Around 5 in the morning, I was just staring at her ceiling, replaying the wine pouring over my head on repeat. The cold reality of the financial risk I had taken was far more painful than the public shame. Finally, I got up and dressed because there was no point trying to sleep anymore. Jenna woke up around 6:30 and found me already sitting on her couch with my shoes on, keys in hand. She didn't even ask. She just grabbed her purse and said, "Let's go deal with the bank first." We got to Chase right when they opened at 8 in the morning. I marched straight up to a banker named Samantha, who I had worked with before for other account matters. I told her, without preamble, that I needed Chloe removed from my savings account immediately. Like right now, this second. Samantha started pulling up my account and asking standard security questions about why I needed this done so urgently. My usual private nature evaporated. I straight up told her, "My girlfriend publicly humiliated me last night, and I don't trust her with access to my money anymore. I need her off the joint account right now." Samantha's face shifted into a look of absolute understanding, the kind of look that said she had dealt with ugly relationship fallout before. She started typing faster. Then she stopped. Her eyes were fixed on the monitor. She looked at the screen, then at me, then back at the screen again. A crease formed in her brow. She asked me, "Max, When was the last time you checked your account balance? Like, actually looked at the transactions, not just the main number on your home screen. I felt a cold wave of dread wash over me. I checked it last week. Why? Samantha slowly turned her monitor to show me the transaction history. The red lines on the screen felt like physical blows. There were 3 large transfers, all dated within the last week, moving money from my savings to Chloe's personal checking account. One for $2,000 5 days ago, another for $1,500 3 days ago, and the last one, the largest, for $3,000 yesterday morning, hours before our anniversary dinner. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone and logged into my banking app. The current balance. The number that should have been $8,000 now showed $1,247. I had been so focused on the humiliation, on the wine incident, on simply getting out of that restaurant last night, that I hadn't even thought to check my bank account. This morning, I was so angry and sleep-deprived that I just wanted to get to the bank to lock her out. I didn't think to look first. She took $6,500 of my money. She secured it in her account while planning to humiliate me that very same night. She knew she was going to pour wine on me in front of her friends. Jenna started going off right there in the bank lobby. We need to call the police. This is theft. She can't just take his money. Samantha, the banker, quickly and gently explained the devastating legal reality. I am so sorry, but because she is a joint account holder, legally, she is allowed to withdraw or transfer funds. It is technically her money too, once her name is on the account. Even though you were the one who contributed every single dollar, I removed Chloe from the account right then. Samantha processed it immediately. A hollow victory because the money was already gone. $6,500 of my savings, my emergency fund, money my dead father left me, just gone. Transferred to Chloe's account where I had zero access and zero legal right to get it back without going to court. We left the bank and I was shaking. Not crying, not sad, just infused with a cold, solid fury that pushed out all the sadness. The betrayal had shifted from emotional cruelty to criminal calculation. It was strategic. She took the money first, then she burned the relationship down. Now I knew exactly what I was fighting for, and I knew that whatever happened next I could not, and would not, play by the rules. We were going to the apartment right now. I wanted my stuff out before Chloe got home from work, and I wanted to be gone before I did something I would regret. Fueled by the bank's devastating news, Jenna and I returned to the apartment, racing the clock before Chloe got home from work. It was 9:30 in the morning when we pulled up to the Bayview apartment building. My mind felt like a pressure cooker, but I was focused. Chloe usually didn't get home until 6 in the evening. We had hours. I used my key, walked in, and immediately started throwing my clothes, still in their hangers, into massive black garbage bags. I didn't even want to take the time to fold anything. The objective was speed and complete extraction. Jenna was helping me pack up my bathroom stuff when my phone started ringing. It was Chloe. I answered on speaker, setting the phone down on the kitchen counter while I furiously cleared out my side of the closet. Before I could say anything, Chloe launched into the kind of explanation only a practiced liar can deliver. "Max, honey, I am so sorry about last night," she started, her voice sounding carefully manufactured to convey remorse. "I had way too much to drink. My friends, honestly, they were being total idiots and peer pressuring me. I didn't mean any of it. The wine was an accident, truly. I was gesturing with my glass, and it just slipped out of my hand. I feel absolutely terrible." The sound of her voice, so false, so obviously calculated, grated on my nerves. She was trying to frame the entire act of calculated public cruelty as a clumsy mistake. I stopped packing, turned my attention fully to the phone on the counter, and spoke, my voice low and steady, which was often far more intimidating than yelling. "I know you transferred my money to your account. Explain that." The smooth, carefully rehearsed apology immediately stalled. There was a silence on the line, maybe 10 seconds of dead air while her brain scrambled for the next script. Then she started talking fast, a torrent of words meant to overwhelm me. "I was going to tell you, Max. I was going to. I needed it for something important. I was going to pay you back next month when I got my bonus from work. Anyway, it's our money, isn't it? We're building a life together. What's mine is yours. I felt the anger surge, and I dropped a bag of socks, forgetting the need to be quiet. That's not how joint accounts work when one person contributes 100% of the funds, Chloe. And also, you don't get to take someone's money and then pour wine on them at dinner and say it was an accident. Where the hell did my money go? What did you need $6,500 for? And this is where the confrontation shifted from infuriating to utterly insane. Chloe took a deep breath, as if bracing herself for a massive overshare. I was helping Nathan with some expenses, she admitted. Nathan is going through a terrible divorce, and he needed money for his lawyer and his new apartment deposit. I felt bad for him, Max. I wanted to help out my friend. Jenna stopped packing entirely, her eyes wide. Nathan. Chloe had taken $6,500 of my savings, money I earned from working overtime, money my dead father left me, and handed it over to a gym buddy going through a divorce. Nathan, the same man who had laughed the loudest when she poured red wine over my head. I completely lost my composure. I was screaming into the phone, my voice cracking with disbelief and rage. What gives you the right to give my money away? Are you out of your mind? Did you seriously think I wouldn't find out? Jenna was yelling in the background. We're pressing charges. Chloe, suddenly defensive, started backtracking. It's a loan to Nathan. He is going to get it back and return it to me. It's not like the money is gone forever. I was going to tell you. Then she delivered the line that made me see absolute red, the moment she shifted the blame entirely onto me. She said, maybe if I wasn't so selfish about money, Max, and so controlling, I wouldn't have felt like I needed to take it without asking. Maybe if I was more generous and understanding about his friends' situations, I would have felt comfortable just asking you to help Nathan. She literally tried to make this my fault, like I was the problem for not wanting to hand over thousands of dollars to a man I barely knew. I didn't say another word. I just ripped the phone off the speaker and slammed the end call button. The line was dead, but the shouting match was just getting started. Minutes after hanging up, Chloe burst through the apartment door, demanding to know why I was packing and trying to salvage the situation. I didn't even hear her car pull up, which meant she must have driven recklessly, or maybe she had simply abandoned her attempt at a careful, calm workday. Her face was flushed, her breathing hard, like she had run the stairs up to the 3rd floor. What the hell are you doing, Max? She demanded, dropping her purse onto the entryway table with a loud clatter. Why are you packing up my closet? We need to talk about this like adults. I zip-tied a massive black garbage bag full of my technical work shirts. I didn't even look up at her. I am getting my belongings and leaving. And also, you have until the end of the month to find a new place because I am removing you from the lease. Chloe's jaw dropped. You can't kick me out. This is my home, too. My name is on the lease. I finally looked up, meeting her enraged eyes with my own calm, cold resolve. My name was on the lease first, Chloe. I signed it 4 months ago, and I only added you a week later because you claimed your apartment was too small for both of us. I am the primary leaseholder. And let's not forget, I have been paying the full rent every month because you claimed you were saving up for a car. Now I know where your money was going, straight to Nathan's divorce lawyer. The confrontation escalated quickly into a shouting match right there in the living room. We were both yelling, but where her tone was frantic and desperate, mine was infused with the cold clarity of ultimate disappointment. Chloe kept insisting I was overreacting. The wine thing was a drunken mistake. The money thing was just her trying to help a friend. She said I was being dramatic and making this into something much bigger than it needed to be. I stopped packing one final time, placing the last box of my books down. I asked her point blank, demanding the honest answer that her rehearsed apologies had avoided. Did you plan to humiliate me at dinner, Chloe? Did you transfer $6,500 of my money knowing you were going to treat me like garbage that night so I would leave you? She didn't answer right away. The pause was agonizingly long, maybe 15 seconds, but it told me everything I needed to know. The cold, calculated truth settled around us. She knew what she was going to do at that restaurant. She had secured my money first, moved my savings into her account, and then publicly degraded me, knowing I would probably leave her. She wanted me to leave, and she made sure to take a chunk of my savings, first as a severance package for herself. When I said that realization out loud, Chloe's entire face changed. The desperate apologies and victim blaming vanished, replaced by a defensive anger that was genuinely ugly. "Fine," she hissed, crossing her arms. "You want the truth. I've been unhappy for months. You are not the person I thought you were when we started dating. You let yourself go. You're always tired from work. You never want to do anything fun anymore. And yes, Ariana was hotter than you." There it was, the real reason. It wasn't about Nathan's divorce lawyer. It wasn't about my being selfish, about money. It was about her cruelty, her narcissism, and her desire to exit the relationship with maximum financial benefit and minimum emotional effort on her part. She wanted me to leave, but she wanted my money to cushion her landing. Jenna stepped forward, her body tense, placing herself between us. "Get out of the apartment, Chloe, so Max can finish packing." Chloe refused. "No. This is my home, too. I am not leaving." "Fine," I told her. "Sit there and watch me pack every single thing I own and move out of your life." She stood there, simmering in the kitchen doorway, while Jenna and I carried bags and boxes out to Jenna's car. Every trip past her, she tried to talk to me, whispering that we could work this out. Maybe we just need some space, maybe couples counseling. I ignored her completely. On my last trip out, carrying a box with my dad's photos and my veterinary textbooks, Chloe stepped out and grabbed my arm. Her grip was tight and desperate. "I love you, Max," she pleaded. "I made mistakes, but everyone makes mistakes, and you are being unfair by not even trying to work through this." I looked her dead in the eyes, my face inches from hers. I was tired, angry, and completely done. I pulled my arm away slowly, not needing to shout. "You poured wine on my head in front of your friends and stole $6,500 from me to give to one of those friends. There is no working through this. Let go of my arm." She let go. I walked out. Jenna and I loaded the last of my stuff into her car. The apartment felt instantly cleaner, colder, and emptier without me. I was leaving the physical space, but I was not leaving the fight. I knew this was just the beginning, but at least I was gone. Back at Jenna's, I decided to contact my brother, Billy, knowing I needed more than legal advice. I needed protection and swift action. I tried to keep it contained. I called my mom Wednesday night because I desperately needed to vent, but I didn't tell her everything. I just told her Chloe and I broke up, it was really bad, and I was staying with Jenna for a bit. My mom is smart, though. She kept asking questions, and I ended up telling her about the wine incident at dinner, which she relayed to Billy. I knew if I told her about the $6,500, Billy would lose his mind and drive up from Illinois immediately. That's exactly what happened. Thursday morning, my phone rang at 7 in the morning. It was Billy. "I'm getting in my truck right now and driving to Milwaukee," he said, his voice hard, with no room for debate. I tried to tell him it wasn't necessary. I was handling it. "Billy, please don't do anything crazy." "I'm not going to do anything crazy," he promised, which meant he absolutely was. "I'm just going to have a conversation with your ex about respect." Then he hung up. Billy showed up at Jenna's around 9 in the morning. The air in the apartment seemed to drop 10 degrees when he walked in. He came in, gave me this huge, grounding hug, and then said, "Okay, where does this piece of trash live? And what's the full story? I heard about the wine, but that's not enough to make you this pale." I told him everything. The anniversary dinner, the wine, the laughing friends, the $6,500, finding out she'd been planning to leave me for months, all of it. When I got to the part about the stolen money, Billy stood up so fast the chair scraped loudly across the wooden floor. "That's it," he said, his voice a low growl. "We are going to get your money back right now." I tried to explain that legally, Chloe had a right to the money since she was on the joint account. The lawyers said it's a civil matter, Billy. It could take months. I don't give a single damn about legal. Billy snapped. "You know what I think about legal? Nothing. She poured wine on your head in front of a room full of people and then stole your money. That's all I need to know." Jenna and I went with him. We drove to the apartment, and Billy didn't even knock. He just used my key and walked right in. Chloe was on the couch with her laptop, wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, clearly having assumed I wouldn't be back during the day. She saw us walk in and immediately jumped up, her face draining of color. "What the hell? You can't just walk in here. This is my home, too. I'm calling the police," she shrieked. Billy walked right up to her, moving slowly, deliberately until he was standing directly over her. He didn't raise his voice. "Go ahead. Call them. While you're at it, explain to them why you stole $6,500 from my brother." Chloe backed up, stammering. "It wasn't stolen. It was a joint account. I had every legal right." "Legal? Everyone keeps talking about legal," Billy mocked. "I'm waiting, Chloe." "Call them." They stared at each other for about 10 seconds. Chloe's hand hovered near her phone, but she didn't call anyone. She knew deep down that introducing the police would only shine a light on her calculated theft. Billy broke the silence. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to open your banking app right now and transfer back whatever money you still have." Chloe's defiance returned. "I can't. I already spent some of it. I don't know how much I have left." "How much do you have left?" Billy insisted. She mumbled, "Maybe $4,000. "Then you are transferring $4,000 right now." "No," she whimpered. "I'm not doing that. You can't make me." That's when Billy moved. It was too fast for me to even react. He grabbed Chloe by her shirt and slammed her against the wall next to the kitchen pantry. Not pushed, slammed. Her head hit the drywall with a sickening thud, and she made a sound like all the air got knocked out of her lungs. Billy got right in her face, his voice quiet but terrifying. "My brother worked overtime shifts to save that money. My dad, who is dead, left him that money, and you took it so you could leave him after you humiliated him. You are the worst kind of coward. You are going to give him his money back, or I'm going to make you regret every single decision you made in the last month." Chloe tried to push him off, her hands flapping uselessly. Billy punched her right in the face, hard. Her head snapped to the side, and she dropped to her knees, holding her nose. Blood started immediately, dripping onto her sweatpants. "Get up," Billy commanded. Chloe stayed on the floor weeping. "You can't do this. This is assault. I'm calling the police." "Then call them, but you're transferring that money first." She got up slowly, leaning against the counter, her nose bleeding freely. With shaking hands, she got her phone out and opened her banking app. Billy stood right behind her, watching the screen. Chloe transferred $4,200. Billy made her show the confirmation screen. I checked my account on my phone. $4,200 had just come in. Billy pointed to her face. "That's what you get for the wine." Then he pointed to the transfer. "That's what you get for the money. Now you've got 2 weeks to get out of this apartment. If you are not gone, I am coming back, and we are not going to have a conversation next time." Chloe just nodded, still holding her bleeding nose. We left. I was shaking, the physical violence settling deep into my system. But the account balance on my phone showed a victory that months of legal wrangling never could have achieved. Leaving the apartment, Billy immediately shifted his focus, calling the accomplice, Nathan, right there in the car. Jenna was driving, and I was in the passenger seat, my entire body still vibrating with adrenaline and the shock of the violence I had just witnessed, even though it was enacted on my behalf. "What about the rest of the money?" I asked Billy, who was sitting in the back, totally calm, as if he hadn't just committed assault. "We'll get it," he said simply. He pulled out his phone. "Give me Nathan's number." Chloe had given Billy Nathan's number during their confrontation, and Billy dialed it right then, putting the call on speakerphone. It rang 3 times before Nathan answered, sounding professional and unaware. "Hello." Billy's voice was pure gravel. "This is Billy. I am the brother of the man whose money Chloe stole. I understand you got $2,000 of that money." Nathan immediately started stammering, the professionalism dissolving into panic. Wait a second. Chloe, told me it was a loan. I didn't know it was stolen. I've already paid back $800. Billy cut him off. "I don't care what Chloe told you. That money was saved from Max's overtime shifts. and it was money left to him by our dead father. You've got $1,200 that belongs to my brother, and you are going to return it. All of it. Nathan tried to hedge. I don't have $1,200 right now. I used it for my lawyer. I can maybe get $500 together by the end of the week. You have until Saturday, Billy stated flatly, his voice a lethal promise. You will get me $1,200, or I am driving to wherever you live, and we are going to have the exact same conversation I just had with Chloe. The line was silent for a moment, then Nathan choked out, Okay, I'll figure it out. Just give me until Saturday. Billy hung up and looked at me. You're getting your money back. All of it. I don't care what I have to do. I asked if Chloe would actually call the police. Billy shrugged. Maybe. But what's she going to say? I came over to talk about her stealing from you, and things got physical? Let her call. I'll deal with it. He knew her pride and her fear of the theft being fully investigated would likely keep her quiet. The day after the confrontation, I was back at work at the vet clinic. I needed the routine, and I needed the distraction. Friday afternoon, one of our longtime clients, a woman named Geraldine, came in with her 2 dogs for their appointments. We got to talking while I was checking in her pets, and she asked how I was doing. I don't know why, but I just told her. I told her I'd broken up with my girlfriend. I told her the name of my ex, Chloe. Geraldine paused. Wet Chloe. Chloe who? I said, Chloe Hayes. She works at your husband's company, doesn't she? On his team. Geraldine said, Yes, I think so. I've met her a few times at company events. Something snapped inside me. The desire for justice had shifted. I had my money back, but Chloe still had her job and her comfortable life. I couldn't press charges, but I could absolutely tell the truth. I told Geraldine everything. The anniversary dinner, the wine, the stolen money, the fact that Chloe had been planning to leave me for months. Then, I told her about things Chloe had said about her and her husband. I didn't have recordings or proof, just things Nathan had mentioned to me. I told her that Chloe would mock her appearance to the guys at the office after she'd leave. I told her that Chloe thought her husband was clueless and easy to manipulate, and that Chloe had bragged about doing things to his food and drinks when he wasn't looking, implying sabotage because she thought it was funny. Geraldine went completely still, her face turning pale. She wasn't looking at her dogs anymore. She was staring at me in horror. Chloe did what to my husband's food? I reiterated, I don't have proof, but Nathan told me Chloe used to brag to their gym friends about messing with her boss's food and drinks because she thought it was funny. Geraldine looked physically ill. She said she needed to go immediately. She needed to talk to her husband right now. She grabbed her dogs and walked out without even finishing the check-in. The professional retribution plot was officially in motion. I felt a cold sense of satisfaction. If the law wouldn't touch her, I would find another way to make her pay. 2 days later, Nathan delivered the cash, and I knew the total reckoning for Chloe was fast approaching. Saturday morning, Nathan showed up at Jenna's apartment with an envelope. He looked terrified and exhausted, the complete opposite of the laughing jock I remembered from the anniversary dinner. He had $1,200 in cash. He said he'd borrowed money from his girlfriend and his mom to get the full amount. He handed me the envelope and said he was sorry. He swore he didn't know the money was stolen and said he wanted nothing to do with Chloe anymore. So now I had $5,400 back. Still missing $1,100, but it was way better than nothing. The money was back in my savings account, safe and removed from Chloe's access. The immediate financial threat was neutralized. The feeling of regaining that security was more powerful than any apology. Monday morning, I got a text from Geraldine. She said her husband had called Chloe into a meeting Friday afternoon, immediately after Geraldine had contacted him. Chloe, predictable as ever, denied everything. She said I was lying. She claimed I was a bitter ex making up wild stories because I was upset about the breakup. But Geraldine's husband didn't believe her. He said the stories were too specific, too detailed, and matched up with concerns he'd already had about Chloe's behavior for months. Chloe was fired, not for the theft, which was unprovable, or the assault, but for conduct unbecoming and loss of trust. Geraldine said her husband felt physically ill thinking about what Chloe might have done to his food over the months. Then Chloe started blowing up my phone. She said Billy assaulted her and she was pressing charges. She said I had lied to her boss and got her fired. She said I had ruined her life. I didn't respond to any of it. My emotional arc had reached a point where her desperate pleas and threats held no power over me. I was shielded by the knowledge that I was moving forward, and she was collapsing under the weight of her own malice. Wednesday, Franklin from the leasing office called me. He sounded relieved. He said Chloe had contacted him, saying she'd be moving out by the end of the month. She claimed she couldn't afford the apartment anymore without her job. Franklin asked if I'd be taking over the full lease, and I said yes, absolutely. My home was secured. The next 2 weeks were tense. I was terrified Chloe would actually press charges against Billy, but she never did. Benjamin, Jenna's brother, who had offered legal advice, said Chloe probably realized that pressing assault charges would open her up to me pressing theft charges. It would all come out about the money, the joint account, and how she'd planned the whole thing. She risked her reputation and whatever remaining job prospects she had. She stayed silent. Chloe moved out the last week of November. Billy drove back up to Milwaukee just to be there when it happened, just to make sure there was no drama or lingering confrontation. Chloe hired movers and avoided us completely. When I finally saw her, her face was a sight. The black eye had faded to a sickly yellow-green, and her nose was still visibly swollen. She wouldn't even look at Billy. She just packed her stuff and left. She was defeated, physically and financially. I am writing this from my apartment. My name is the only one on the lease now. I got $5,400 of my $6,500 back. I'm still missing $1,100 and I'll probably never see it. But honestly, I don't even care anymore. Some people might say Billy went too far. That violence isn't the answer. That we should have done everything legally through the courts. But here is the reality I came to accept. The courts would have taken 6 months. It would have cost me thousands in legal fees, and I might not have gotten anything back due to the joint account loophole. Billy took one afternoon and got me $4,200 back immediately. Nathan gave me another $1,200 because Billy scared him into it. I am back in my apartment, living in my own life, months earlier than I would have been through legal channels. Chloe has a black eye. She lost her job, and she lost her home. She earned every second of what Billy did to her. She planned this. She poured wine on my head in front of her friends and stole from me. The true resolution wasn't found in a courtroom. It was found in reclaiming my dignity and my future. I realized I was not the victim she had tried to paint me as. I was resilient, and I had people who loved me fiercely enough to step over the line for me. My life is secure and my trust issues, though still present, are tempered by the knowledge that I can fight, and I can win.